Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Cooper Flagg had a bounce-back performance over the weekend, and the Mavericks promptly shut him down for the summer. Also, the Nationals made an interesting decision with the number one pick in the MLB Draft. And should the Power Four ditch weak non-conference games in college football?
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Cooper Flagg struggled in his Summer League debut last week, at least shooting the basketball, but erupted for 31 points in his second game at the Las Vegas Summer League. Locked On Manso's Nick Angstad broke down Flagg's incredible performance.
But I want to start with Cooper Flagg because everything starts and ends with Cooper Flagg here now. Cooper Flagg showed us the next level for what he can be and what he's going to be in the NBA, because they've been using this experiment. They've been trying to run him as the point guard. They've been trying to use him as the ball handler. They've been trying to use him as the guy that runs pick and rolls, gets his own shot, and all that kind of stuff. And he went out and took 20 shots again, 10 of 20 from the field, 31 points, and he only had 2 turnovers. And I think that's the thing that we're really going to focus on, and the coach focused on after the game. I asked Coach, I said, how do you think Cooper Flagg has handled the ball pressure and the defense against him? He said he's only had 3 turnovers in 60 minutes of play, and they've been hounding him over and over again. Cooper Flagg even mentioned after the game, he said, Carter Bryant picked me up 94 feet, and I was pretty gassed by the end of it. I thought that was an interesting thing for him to admit at this point, but that he was gassed, that he put in all the work, took all the shots, was the one hand on the ball and all that, and still only 3 turnovers total. And I think that's the next level that Cooper Flagg is taking in this, and that is the thing that's going to take him from like a really good player in the NBA to an MVP, if he can handle the ball, if he can get his own shot and do all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, seeing Cooper in game 2, what a difference. He felt more comfortable out there. Obviously, he had better counting stats for the graphics on social and everything.
That 30 looking pretty good.
Yeah, better percentages and stuff. But no, I mean, it's 2 straight games where teams have went into it with a really aggressive approach with him of, hey, we're gonna play pretty aggressive on-ball defense against him. Carter Bryant, it's hard to find anything in Summer League going into it. You got to just tell yourself, like, hey, I'm not gonna like form any big opinions, and it's hard to like find things to like pull from Summer League to say, hey, like good or bad. But watching Carter Bryant and his defense and just like his traits and stuff, that it's hard to believe that won't translate. So I was like super impressed with him. But yeah, the Cooper experience, handled the ball and stuff. It felt like he brought the ball down the floor a little bit more in today's game. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of it because it's just not the role that he's going to be playing in the NBA. And I get it.
Not a fan of it in Summer League?
No, I'm not, honestly.
What? This is the time to give him reps. Like, this is the time to get him to handle the ball, to go out there and like, all right, you're the focal point of this team, kind of the only player that matters on the Summer League team for the Mavs. Like, go work out this part of your game that's not exactly what you're natural and best at doing, right? Like, that to me, that it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no. Hey, is that Kirk sad face?
That was Kirk serious face.
I mean, I see it. It's like, hey, get better at it. It's just, I don't like.
Well, what's he supposed to do in Summer League then?
Play the role that he's going to play. Like, let other point guards. Like, I love the possessions.
They only have one.
I know, but it's just like, I love the possessions in which he like starts off the ball. He had that one possession where he had a catch and shoot 3, and I was like, beautiful. Even when like, hey, he comes off a screen or something, then he comes up to the top of the key and gets it, and then runs the offense and does something from there. So yeah, but either way, it's like I love. He has such an overall, like, all-around game. We said this going to the draft, like, it's really hard to pick like a negative about him because he just has such a well-rounded game all the way around. And yeah, tonight you just saw it. I mean, you saw with the athleticism, the shot. He hit some more shots and stuff tonight, stepping into some threes. You saw a little bit more with the left hand again, which we talked about on the last pod. He had that.
You were loving his left hand.
I did. I'm really impressed by that. And you got to look at the small things with Cooper, because it's like, whether it's good or bad, you kind of got to like nitpick good or bad of like finding the small things, because he does all the stuff so well.
Yeah. Well, I like that he was handling the ball a lot, and they're putting him in this position. He mentioned after the game, he's like, they want me to be aggressive. And, right. For these 2 games, it's probably the only 2 games he's going to play. Go out there, take a bunch of shots, and, work out some of the parts of the game that you're not really used to doing. That is what Summer League is for. Coach said during, Summer League practices before, he was like, this is not even necessarily about just team success. It's about go out there and show us what you can do.
Yeah.
And that the Mavs need to see what Cooper Flagg can do with the ball in his hands, running a pick and roll against some of these defenders, against NBA level defenders like a Carter Bryant, who was picking him up 94 feet, like Cooper said. And so, to me, I think that's showing us his next level. I think that's the thing. But we saw so many other things from his game in this one. Getting out in transition, that's a thing that will translate to the Mavericks too. You get a stop with Lively or Gafford or Anthony Davis for sure. And Cooper Flagg's already leaking out. He's so smart, knows exactly when to go, when to break. And those dunks, man, I was under the basket for most of them. And the alley-oop from Nembhard was awesome. The almost body that he caught on that one.
That was right next to you.
Yeah, and then the drive right into it. Yeah, I was right under that basket, and it's just you forget how every time you watch him, you forget how big he is. He is 6'9", and he was bigger than some of the centers out there sometimes.
You can stay up to date all year on the Dallas Mavericks by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Mavericks on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Major League Baseball draft took an interesting turn at the top. Before we get to that, another classic between Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon's final. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. I happen to make some money on Jannik Sinner at Wimbledon this week. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get it on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I might be doing that too sometimes. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I am part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Another chapter in what is now the rivalry in men's tennis left Jannik Sinner with his first victory over Carlos Alcaraz in a Grand Slam final, earning the 23-year-old his first Wimbledon title. Sinner lost Alcaraz in heartbreaking fashion in Roland Garros, but controlled the grass in front of a celebrity-filled crowd on Sunday afternoon in London. Alcaraz won the first set 6-4, but Sinner took the next 3 sets to claim the crown. And Iga Swiatek made sure the women's bracket wasn't nearly as dramatic, but just as historic. She beat American Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0, becoming the first to do that at a women's final since 1911. Longtime Pacer Miles Turner finally broke his silence about leaving Indiana for the Milwaukee Bucks, saying he wanted to stay competitive with the Bucks, giving him the chance to do that. Obviously, last year we got to the finals. Turner said on social media, being a big part of winning basketball just changed my entire perspective on the league. Probably stings a bit for Pacers fan to see that one of the pieces of their core depart for a rival, even if it is a greener pasture this season. Over on the diamond, the Red Sox won their 10th straight after powering past the Rays.
Not only the fact that we're talking about 10 straight wins for the Red Sox, Crochet, Bregman, Chapman all going to the All-Star game. Major League Baseball is going to be talking an awful lot about the Red Sox in the coming days because they've won 10 in a row.
The MLB Draft got off to a bit of a weird start. With no clear top dog, the Washington Nationals surprised everyone with their number 1 selection.
The Nationals have their shortstop of the future after selecting Eli Willits with the number 1 overall pick. And I'm Ryan Clary from Locked On Nationals. And the Nationals, they get their franchise shortstop. This is a stunning selection as the Washington Nationals really kind of getting deep into this rebuild. You take a prep switch hitting bat, someone who has a lot of raw talent, but Mike DeBartolo, he's cutting a deal at number 1 overall. He feels that this guy has the potential to be the best player in this year's draft. And the Washington Nationals, they're taking a big swing here. Now, here's the thing with Willits. He is a great defender, but he does have some work. He does have some room to grow into his body because he is only 17 years old. This is one of the rawest prospects in the draft, but overall, also one of the more talented ones. So we'll have much more on Locked On Nationals.
The Mariners took LSU pitcher Cade Anderson at number 3.
There's the prep shortstop. This is Todd Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast, here with the 57th selection in the 2025 MLB Draft. The Seattle Mariners have taken prep shortstop Nick Becker out of New Jersey. He's a Virginia commit. His brother is playing there right now, so it'll probably take a little bit to get him to sign with the organization, but they wouldn't have taken him at this pick this high in the draft if they were that concerned about their ability to sign him. So they're going to get this done, but it is going to be an overslot deal, I would expect. I think that's pretty safe to say. But man, this is a really interesting ball of clay for the Mariners to potentially mold here. And Nick Becker, 6'4", and there's a legit shot that he's going to be able to stick up the middle. So really, really interesting pick here by the M's, and they are having themselves a really fun day one of the draft. We'll talk about it on the Locked On Mariners podcast tomorrow. See you then. Peace.
In need of some hard-throwing additions to their system, the Cardinals took Liam Doyle with the 5th pick.
With the 5th pick in the 2025 MLB Draft, the St. Louis Cardinals have selected Liam Doyle, left-handed pitching psychopath from Tennessee. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and I use the word psychopath in an endearing way. The dude has got energy. He's got attitude. He talks the talk and he walks the walk, and he's got a 100-mile-per-hour fastball in his left pocket to back it up. Swing and miss stuff, that's what you want. Say hello to the guy who was second in Division I in strikeouts and first in strikeout rate at 15.4 per 9. He also punched out a D1 high, 105 batters with that sizzling fastball. They got a 75 out of 80 grade. He also throws a cutter, slider, splitter that he uses as a changeup. Does have control. It doesn't seem to be a problem. The whip under 1 this season at Tennessee. Now, whether he's a starter or a reliever down the road, that is the real question. Both spots extremely important at the major league level. 21 years old, 6'2", 220 pounds. Seems like a guy who, if things go smoothly, is going to be up in St. Louis in no time. Shouldn't take long. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
And the Pirates doubled down on pitching, nabbing prep prospect Seth Hernandez with the 6th selection.
It's certainly been an eventful early draft board. My goodness, a lot of people just not in the order anyone expected. But the Pittsburgh Pirates select with the number 6 pick in the 2025 MLB entry draft, Seth Hernandez out of Corona High School, prep student, right-handed pitcher. A lot of tools, 3+ pitches. Going to move pretty quickly for a high school arm, I'd imagine. Yes, I know he's not the offensive player that a lot of people expected. Me either. But Seth Hernandez is undeniably the most talented high school pitcher available in this draft. I'm super excited about the talent ad. He's probably going to slot in as the Pirates' number 3 prospect right away, right behind Bubba Chandler and Connor Griffin. And, hey, exciting to add the talent here. And the Pirates have certainly been good at bringing along young pitching. So let's hope to see that continue. More on this tomorrow on Locked On Pirates.
Stay up to date all year on Major League Baseball by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On MLB on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, a major conference head coach has proposed a scheduling format that would greatly harm the lower levels of college football. BYU Cougars head coach Kalani Sitake believes that Power 4 college football programs should completely ditch cupcake non-conference games and only schedule games against each other. Locked On Big 12 host Drake Toll explains why this would be a terrible idea for the sport.
Dad, I think we're believing in ourselves a little bit too much here. I get it. This is the third tier bully on the playground being like, yeah, well, I think I should fight everybody. And you're like, wait a second. If the SEC wanted to do this, if LSU or Ohio State or somebody said, hey, our philosophy is let's play the best all the time. Yeah, you probably can do that with great success year in and year out. If BYU's schedule in a given year features 3 non-conference opponents that are Ohio State, NC State, and say Arkansas, that's a tough slate compared to trying to have an easy landing spot early on against a Utah State, even we're going, hey, this is good competition.
That's Pac-12 bound Utah State to you.
But it's not playing, Ohio State. And what really worries me is the College Football Playoff Committee and their decision making. On the one hand, if you beat those 3 opponents or go 2-1, that's leverage. On the other hand, if you go 0-3, it's disaster city, and you do well in conference play. But now, if you're 8-4 and you missed your Big 12 title game, or 7-5 when you could have been 10-2, that completely changes the game. Knowing the College Football Playoff Committee doesn't love the Big 12.
It does. I see where your head is at there. What popped into my head as you were laying out this particular situation is one reason it wouldn't come to fruition is what is the playoff format we're even talking about where this could become a reality? Like legitimately, we don't know. College football is so, I say it on my show.
This would hurt 5+11, right? 5+11, this would be bad. A harder non-conference.
I don't think, and this is why schools should not have control of their schedules. I have lobbied against that as long as I have been speaking on the airwaves, and I will continue to do so because it's patently ridiculous and it's not good for the sport for this very reason. When you have a committee that is analyzing all these different factors and subjectively determining who gets in and who gets left out, even though I'm more pro-committee than most, I'm not so blind to say that, schools aren't going to realize, hey, they seem to really like the record. Indiana didn't have a marquee win last year. They just beat the crap out of everyone, which they did, and everybody always overlooks. But I think that if you are in a 5+11 and the committee's heavily involved, schools are going to look at this and say, we don't want to risk going 9-3. I don't want my season to come down to a field goal like that. I want to have a chance for one win that puts a feather in our resume's cap. But if I lose that game, I don't want to be in a situation where I could lose the other 2 non-conference games and my only path to the playoff is in conference play. That would be fun to me, but would that be fun to a lot of schools? No, probably not.
There are those moments when the powerhouse program schedules the cupcake and the cupcake springs the upset. App State over Michigan is going to be the one everyone points to. But by and large, these games are directional ESPN fodder in September. These are games where you're seeing teams win 72-14. They're not competitive games. It's not good for those small schools, other than some of the money that they get for showing up, to compete there. It's not helpful for their program. It doesn't buy them credibility in any way. They're there to be sacrificial lambs. There's nothing particularly useful about that. Again, other than the guys on that team get to say that they got their doors blown off by Ohio State or by Florida State or Alabama. So what? So what? And the teams who don't do it are the ones being punished because they might lose an early non-conference game against a really good team. Meanwhile, you have a blue blood program playing our Sisters of Perpetual Sorrow in week 1, and they get the easy win. How is that equitable? How does that make sense? Make everyone schedule real opponents, and then you've got apples to apples comparisons when it comes time to decide who's going to make the playoff. And finally, Connor Stalions, the former Michigan staffer at the heart of the NCAA sign stealing investigation, is back online and apparently thinks tweeting again is a good idea. TCU coach Sonny Dykes recently told On3 that the Horned Frogs changed their signals before the 2022 college football semifinal win over Michigan, and that it helped. Stalions clapped back, saying that there were only 7 games where he knew every signal, including that one. And Michigan still lost. I'm not sure that's the flex he thinks it is, but hey, man, go off, I guess. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, who's taking home the Home Run Derby crown? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.